Have you ever wondered how to share a big chunk of your book, like say the first chapter or even the first 3, 4, or 5 chapters with your readers? Because if you have, that's something I'm actually about to do right now for my next newsletter coming out. Last month I shared the first chapter. This month I'm sharing the first 3 chapters, and on release day I'm actually going to share the first 5. And you might be like, that's a lot, but actually that's the exact amount that is going to be shown in most of the online vendors. What do they call it? Sneak peek, look inside the book feature anyway. So if you click on a book on Amazon, Google Play, Kobo, gosh, I don't actually know if Barnes & Noble has this feature or not, but the point is, on a lot of those online retail websites, you can already see a big chunk of the book. So why not take advantage of that and use it as a way to get readers excited about your story, like either prior to release or around release week, or even after. Honestly, it's something that you could even share like a year later, like, hey, have you read my book? I'm going to share the first chapter with you today just to see if it gets you interested. Because my personal belief is that there is nothing that can get a reader more interested in a story faster than actually reading a piece of that story, whether it's like a one-liner quote, some kind of fun hook, or the blurb, or in this case, a big chunk like a whole chapter. I'm not looking super cute because I wasn't planning on being on camera today, but you know what? I'm about to do this right now, and I just wanted to take you guys along with me. So let's go ahead and jump onto my computer. All right, here's my screen. Step 1 is to take your manuscript and actually save it as a new document. So what I'm going to call it is, in this case, 3-chapter teaser, but otherwise this is the final document. So your goal is going to be the final version of the story. You don't want to be creating a chapter teaser of something that's not been edited or anything, because it's just going to come across unprofessional. So wait till you have your final document, just a side note. But then the next step is to delete all the story that you're not planning to have as part of the teaser. So if I know my ultimate goal is actually 5 chapters for release day, I'm going to start with deleting from chapter 6 on, and I'm going to just highlight everything all the way through to the very last chapter. And as you can see, it helps that I zoomed out in Word first so that this didn't take forever. And then when you see the end right there, just delete. Boom, there you go. And after I finish all of this, I will make a 5-chapter version, and then I'll delete 2 more chapters and make a 3-chapter version so that I have both, because everything else will be exactly the same. So for now, I'm going to keep all 5. The other thing I'm going to do is get rid of any front and back matter that isn't necessary. So we're going to keep the copyrights page, but we do not need 2 title pages. We don't need a dedication. We don't need a newsletter sign up because I'm sending this via a newsletter, and we also don't need any blank pages. So I'm going to click delete there. If you ever have a blank page and you're like, I can't get rid of it, you can click this little paragraphs guy here. Let me zoom out again so you can see better. Highlight like that until you see the section break or whatever you have that the paragraph option here shows you, and then click delete, and there you go. And I think I'm going to get rid of the also by list as well, because I'm going to put a little something at the end instead. So this way my chapter teaser or excerpt or whatever you want to call this thing gets right into it, okay? And then I'm going to zoom out and jump to the end of the book, not really the end of the book, the end of the excerpt, and start right here and do the same thing. So I'm going to get rid of the newsletter sign up because, again, not needed. I'm going to get rid of the glossary in this case because I think it might give some things away. We don't need acknowledgments for one section, and we don't really need the author bio either. And then you see how I still have the section breaks highlighted like this. We're going to get rid of those just like that. And then I'm going to turn off that paragraph thing so I don't see that anymore. All right, step 4 is at the very end of excerpt, I'm going to use this little, I don't know what that's called, paragraph thingy, and put end of excerpt in all caps like this. And then I'm going to click enter, and I'm going to immediately go into all of the things that might make somebody want to purchase the book. Now, I've already created this excerpt for chapter 1, so instead of rewriting the entire thing, I'm just going to go ahead and copy paste. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing, and there you go. When I make these, I think of the reader. So I start with, I hope you enjoyed this excerpt. If you did, here are a few ways you can support this story. Share on social media, and I explain how a reader's opinion of a book and word of mouth holds so much weight, and it helps authors way more than most readers have any idea. And then number 2, I say you could also add it to your Goodreads TBR. It lets people on Goodreads know just in the same way as the other kinds of word of mouth. Super valuable. Number 3, if you're able to, here's the pre-order link, and I hyperlink this so that if you click on it, it takes you right to the books page. P.S. This is super easy. You just highlight the text you want, right click, and then choose the hyperlink option, and it's that easy. And then I also say, if you're not able to do that, you can also request it from your local library, which also supports me, and then you're able to read it as well. And then I say thank you so much for being excited about this story. I cannot wait for you to read the rest of it. Also, in a separate box, I include all the links for them to pre-order. Let me quick show you how I put in these boxes. I honestly could do it fancier. I've done it fancier in the past, but I realized the easiest way is just click insert table, and put a little box in, and then put all your text inside the box. And it's really that simple. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just center this so it looks a little bit prettier like that. Oops. Oh, this is funny. The header and footer is the old Princesses and Castles from my very first draft of The Stolen Kingdom. You do not have to have headers and footers. That's just carrying over from my finalized paperback document. But if we zoom out now, my next step is to go back to the beginning, and you see where there's the title PNG, aka this picture right here. I'm gonna zoom in on that, and we're actually gonna right click and say change picture, because I want this to be the front cover of the book. Since this is a digital file, we're gonna just drag until it fits in the middle here like this, and center it. And again, I can click that paragraph thing to get rid of whatever is going on here and make sure there's no extra pages, because when you're sending out a digital file, there is no need to have blank pages in it. But I do love that the cover file can be front and center, since it's not going to show up anywhere else. And then my next step is actually to make this into a PDF, because I prefer to never send a Word file. I don't want anybody to pirate my book and copy it, so a PDF makes it a lot harder to do that. I typically use something called Adobe Acrobat, which looks like this, where I just click create PDF, I click my chapter teaser file, and I start converting that file. However, I believe you can also stay in Word, and you can click File, Save As, and then when you're in the section where you're saving, click the file format option at the bottom and change it to PDF right here. And I would say best for electronic distribution. It's perfectly fine, and you can click export that way as well. Last but not least, of course, is actually sharing that excerpt with your readers. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways that I have done this and still do this, and you can share all kinds of larger files. Like, I even share the first half of The Stolen Kingdom with my newsletter subscribers as an incentive to sign up for my newsletter. So in case you're curious, you can get that actually just by signing up for my newsletter, and it's literally the entire first half of the book. And technically, if neither of these 2 options work, there is a third option that I'll share at the end as well, but these 2 particular options work really well with the website host that I use, which is called Wix. And so this is not a paid promotion or anything, it just happens to be what I use. It's pretty user friendly, and they have something called buttons. And so I literally create a button that says click here to download the first chapter or whatever I want it to say, and then I will just link that PDF, and Wix takes care of the rest, and my reader literally just has to click to download, and then they get that chapter. That's the first way that I do it, and honestly it's the easiest way as well. But there are instances where I might not be sending it via an email, and I still want my readers to have access, such as when I am sending them my first 5 annotated chapters of The Secret Gift as a thank you for pre-ordering. So that's one of my pre-order incentives in my pre-order campaign. If you didn't know, I'll link that below and then you can check it out. But essentially, I'm planning to send it the other 2 ways that I talked about. So when I have that PDF ready, I've annotated all the chapters, I haven't done it yet, then I'm planning to take the email list of everybody that I have so far and literally just send them the PDF as an attachment. So that is the way that I was going to tell you guys at the end, the easiest way by far. You're just sending it as an attachment. That's all there is to it. But then going forward, I don't want to have to email everybody manually every single time somebody new signs up for my pre-order incentive, right? So what I will do is actually, after they fill out the Google form and they click submit and they have their proof of purchase, the thank you page will have a link that will let them have access to a web page where, just like with my newsletter, there is a download button and a short explanation that says something like, click here to download the chapters. So it's just another page on your website, but it's a hidden page, as in something that your readers don't know how to find, because you're going to create a unique URL for it that you don't tell anybody, and then you are not going to link it to the rest of your website. So it is out there floating around, but nobody knows about it. Nobody has access to it unless you give them access. And so I will take that link with the specific URL that I create. You can say something like super secret, blah, 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 page for blah, blah, blah book, or you can keep it simple. It doesn't matter. And then you will copy and paste that link into the thank you page of your Google Forms, for example, or wherever else you want to send it. Maybe you do want to email everyone, but you want to send them that link instead so that they have to go to the website to download your excerpt. Either way. And then since it is just a simple button that says download the book here, whatever percentage of it is, you might want to add something else. Like I typically will add a visual of the book in some way, shape, or form, and that's it. And you just have this very simple web page that you can send a link to whenever you want to give somebody that portion of the book, that excerpt, and that's it. So those are 3 different ways that you can send it. Well, technically 4, because you could do the PDF in your newsletter, or just doing individual emails as needed. You could put it on a web page and email the link to the web page, or you could put it on a web page and post that link somewhere specific. And either way, that web page would have the download button that I mentioned. So those are different ways that I send out excerpts depending on what I need. But then the last one, if it is a short enough excerpt, usually just chapter 1 or maybe a portion of chapter 1, depending on how long it is, you can also put that directly into your newsletter so that there's not even anything stopping them from reading it. And then at the very bottom of those pages, when there was kind of a hook type of moment, I put a button that said, click here to keep reading. And if they did, they could download the rest of chapter 1. So I hope that makes sense. And if you want to see it in action, like I said, I'm going to do that this coming month in November for my author newsletter at the beginning of the month. And then again for release day at the beginning of December on December 5th. So you can see it in action if you're interested. But also, like I said, I'll be using this for my pre-order incentive as well, which is those first 5 chapters with annotated notes from me about the writing of them and the behind the scenes information. So if you would like a video on how I make those annotated chapters, let me know. I have an idea floating around, but I've never done it before, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely comment to let me know if you did, because I know it's kind of a niche topic, but I hope it helps somebody. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!